slap it. Good.
If you would, Brian, tell us your name and spell it.
Hi, I'm Brian Stoltz, Stoltz.
Cool. If you would please describe the warehouse as if you were describing to somebody who's never seen it, never heard of it.
The warehouse was just this unbelievable place to me. It was a big brick warehouse. I guess it was either a cotton or a coffee warehouse, I'm not sure. But it was brick and wood. The ceiling was wood with these huge timbers running through it, brick walls, nasty carpeted floor. It was fantastic. It sounded so good in there.
What was that typical crowd like at the warehouse?
The crowd was everything. Everything from, it was all ages, so it was young kids all the way to older people. And it was just everything you can imagine. I remember I was young at the time. I was 15 years old, something when I first started going there. And I used to remember just walking through the back of the place, and there was always these characters standing against the back wall with sunglasses on, And to get to the concession stand, you had to go through that crowd. And I remember I was always a little frightful of that crowd that stood against the back wall. But looking back now, it was just, it was totally innocent. But it was all kind of people there. Everybody was there.
You mentioned the concession stand. They didn't sell booze,
No.
but in some of the pictures I have, the people in the crowd are holding full whiskey bottles.
Yeah, well, people used to just sneak it in. There wasn't no checks or nothing. You walked in, you get a bag. It didn't matter. People just carried anything in.
You said you attended a bunch of shows. Would you rattle off some of your more memorable shows that you saw?
God, several times. Seen Johnny Winter there a lot. Edgar Winter, ZZ Top. The first show I went to there was I guess it was in '70. Was Mountain, the Leslie West show. And over the years, God, Jeff Beck, Osabisa, Mandrill. I remember seeing, I think it was an Osabisa show, and the opening act was the Batiste Brothers from New Orleans. And I remember they had this little kid in the band who played drums and was playing saxophone. He was about 8 years old. And I remember thinking, God, who is this little kid? He's unbelievable. Well, he grew up to be Russell Batiste, drummer for the Funky Meters, Porter Batiste Stoltz, and my partner in Porter Batiste Stoltz after all these years.
Cool. If you would rattle off some more bands, toss Oasis in there, the Bachman Turner Overdrive show.
Oh, sure.
And you said you saw King Crimson, Professor Longhair, and Foghat.
Okay. Yeah, there were so many good shows there. I remember one show in particular. It was George Curo's band, Oasis, with Charlie Daniels and Bachman Turner Overdrive, who were, they had their big hit out at the time. I guess it was one of them, I don't know. But that was a particularly great show. And over the years, I saw Kid Crimson. Who else you said?
Foghat, you had told me.
Oh, yeah.
Professor Longhair.
Yeah, well, back at the warehouse, back in those days, you didn't see a lot of local bands. And when you did see local bands, they were opening act. But one memorable one was seeing Professor Longhair. And I don't remember who he opened for, but because he was so great, it was like he opened the show and he kind of took the show, because I don't remember who the headliner was. But it was Professor Longhair, and I remember he had Snooks Eaglin playing guitar with him at the time. And that was my first time seeing Snooks, so that was a treat.
Did the warehouse play a part in you becoming a musician?
Warehouse played a big part in me becoming a musician because, like I said, it started going there when I was 15 years old. And I would go, if I had the money to go, I was there. And it didn't really matter who was playing. I was there. And yeah, it was just such an inspiration for me because it was my formative years of playing music, and I was just learning how to play. It was my biggest inspiration by far.
What made the warehouse special?
New Orleans had never seen anything like the warehouse. I'm sure they had clubs, and I hear old stories about from friends about back in the days, Dewdrop Inn and all these different places, and but the Warehouse just came along at a time where, you know, coming out of the '60s, coming into the '70s, just that energy was there, you know, and while that kind of scene had already happened in San Francisco and other places, you know, that was completely new to New Orleans. I mean, before the Warehouse, the only shows we ever got was Beatles in '64, and I remember seeing Jefferson Airplane in, I don't know, '67 or something. But and that was at concert halls at the park. But as far as having a place or a club that size, that was just a first. And to have bands like Allman Brothers and King Crimson, all these type of acts coming through there on a weekly basis, it was just phenomenal.
And how much were tickets back then?
Oh, I remember seeing King Crimson for $3, $3, $5, you know, something like that.
You told me you saw a show with Muddy Waters, Albert King, Lightning Hopkins, and Johnny Shines.
That was one of the last shows I saw there. It was Muddy Waters, Lightning Hopkins, Albert King, and Johnny Shines, and it was you know, where do you get to see that, you know, especially nowadays? It's over. I remember we went to the show, and I remember they had just opened up a bar. They had opened up they did serve liquor at that point. There was a bar set up. It was like a little elevated area. You had to walk up a little short flight of stairs to get to it. And I remember sitting in there watching that show. It was amazing.
Any idea why the Warehouse closed?
You know, I don't know. It seemed like, I don't even know what year it was, but it seemed like it had its heyday. And then for a while, they stopped having shows, but every once in a while, something would happen there. They'd have a show there every few months or something. And then at some point, it just completely went away. And I never did get the story on why it ended.
So tell us either your craziest Warehouse story or your best memory. Or both.
The thing I remember most about the Warehouse was that no matter where I stood in the crowd, I could have been up in the front by the stage, I could have been in the middle, I could have been in the back. No matter where I stood, the guy next to me passed out. And I was always left holding some guy. Always. Somebody passed out next to me. That's what I remember.
Anything else you want to say?
No, just that, again, the Warehouse was just such a great inspiration for me, and it's too bad we don't have it anymore. But for its time, there was nothing else like it. It was a brilliant place.
Cool. And then if you would plug the band and say what everybody plays in the band, so when we have y'all's interview, we can have the band and then what instrument y'all play in the little graphic.
Wait.
Your band.
Okay, Porter Baptiste Stoltz?
Yeah.
Okay, because there's a few of them there.
Yeah.
So again, how you want it? What order you want it?
How do you want it? Because it can say your name and then it can say your band below.
Oh, I
What-
see,
and
I
so-
see.
So you're the guitarist.
Oh,
and-
yeah. Yeah, and I'm Brian Stoltz, the guitarist from Porter Baptiste Stoltz.
What, George plays keyboards?
No.
No. Oh, I thought y'all played together.
No. George is my engineer. George records. George does the records.
Okay.
No. George is giving up the live
No more
gig
live
situation.
gigs. And what's Baptiste play? Drummer.
Russell Baptiste is the drummer with
Okay.
Porter Baptiste Stoltz.
Cool.
George Porter, Russell, and myself. Yeah,
Anything else you want to add?
that's it.
All right. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Jesse.
Cool.
Oh man, I can't wait to see this. This will be great.
More 5 minutes of silence.
Yeah, let's
Do another room tone.
You wanna do another one?
Shits and giggles. Yeah. Actually, let's do 30 seconds. Let's do 30. Start now.
Thanks,
Good. Thanks, guys.
All right.